India has seen the launch of its first ever Fabless semiconductor startup. Now, what is a Fabless semiconductor startup? An organization, a company that designs the chips but doesn't make the chips. One of the biggest examples in the world is Qualcomm, which holds the patents on most of the communication chips from Android to iPhone. They are all using Qualcomm chips. Now, this company in India is called iVP Semi. It has been co-founded by an industry veteran. His name is Raja Manickam. He's an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur. He started his career as a test engineer at a US-based Texas Instruments. Over the course of a 40-year career, he's also worked at Fairchild Semicon, DTS, and Vico Test Labs. He's also been involved in the early startup of the UTAC group prior to founding iVP. Mr. Manickam led Tata's efforts to establish a semiconductor manufactory in India. He's joining us on this telecast on NewsX. Mr. Manickam, thanks very much for taking out the time to join us, and congratulations for this enterprise. Could you help us understand, sir, and I gave the example of Qualcomm, how important is design and patenting in chipset manufacturing?
I think it is very important that you own the IP and any patents that is related to it, because you can distinguish your product versus other people. But at the same time, there's a proliferation of IPs. Not necessarily that we develop our IPs by ourselves. It could be that the IPs we can always purchase from wherever it is available.
Okay.
But certainly, I think it will add to the portfolio, the strength of the portfolio.
Okay. Now, but so you have the pedigree in the job, sir. Okay. Going back 40 years, what's iVP Semi's larger vision? What are your plans for the semiconductor ecosystem in India?
There is no large semiconductor Indian company, right? We have a lot of services company, but yes, we don't have a product company, a fabless chip company for the matter. So iVP's vision is to create a semiconductor, Indian semiconductor company that will, which likes the branded as an Indian semiconductor company, likes the TI or ST Micro or NXP and all these the brands that we are very familiar with, right? Or the Intels and Nvidia. Mm-hmm. So our vision to be in that same league as as a branded semiconductor product company. So we will be actually selling chips and solutions.
Okay, chips and solutions. So design, assembly, chip solutions, marketing. Where does the IP figure into this in developing a brand and developing a product?
To me, currently we are licensing from Taiwan and Japan.
Right.
But really, in the bigger scheme of things, wherever the IP is available for the best product performance that we can get. So in a way, the R&D for the company is worldwide, right? So we will acquire IPs that is available in Europe or US or wherever it is, that will make our product much better. So while we have our own R&D and IP building internally, yes, we are seeking larger market by using existing IPs all over the world. So okay, in a way, you can look at our company's R&D centers are all over the world.
Okay.
Except they are not on our payroll.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about the center that you're setting up. For people watching the broadcast, Mr. Manickam has already secured a pre-series funding of about $5 million to get started. 20,000 square foot initial setup is being done in Chennai. Can you help us understand what the Chennai office, what the Chennai lab will be about, sir?
In a fabless semiconductor model, you don't own any production or manufacturing facilities of your own, right? Mm-hmm. You outsource the wafer fab, you outsource the packaging, you outsource the test, to very large players and so on. But I think because we are starting off and we have to assure that our product quality is top notch, is world class, and it's as good or better than most of the or the current players. I want to keep tests internally, so we are setting up our test manufacturing facility in Chennai to start with. It will be it'll be what I call modular. It will grow as we grow. Initially, we are looking at about 20,000 square feet facility. And for the power products, we will have the testers that are capable of testing power products. And as we, enter into other digital microcontrollers and so on, we will add a different type of testers. But we're going to start with the power products and a facility of about 20,000 square feet.
Okay. Now, Mr. Manickam, which then sectors, what's the target market of the kinds of chips that you intend to be developing and commissioning? What's your focus market? What's the end product likely to be?
So the key segments, we are focusing on, and what I call phase one is on the power sector, because it's a very large market, and there is a significant changes that are going to happen in how we produce power. Moving away from fossil fuels to the renewable energy, how we are going to transmit power. There's going to be a lot more distributed power generation and power storage as well. So there is a significant market in the power sector. We are going to be focusing on the power market. For example, just to give you an example, if you look at the government plans to have 50 gigawatt of solar per year, which is very, very high. 50 gigawatt is very high. Now, there is a significant amount of electronics that goes behind this generation of power and distribution and storage of this power. So we want to own all the electronics that goes behind this initiative. That's our vision, to capture that market, which is available in the Indian market. So our customers will be the power producers, EPCs, which are installing renewable energy, and system makers, inverter makers, transformer makers, and so on. The second segment we are looking at is on the two-wheeler and the EV market.
Okay.
We're looking at the charging, again, related to power. So these are the two focus areas we have to start with. Both are, growing markets, and we believe that we have an advantage in India to serve the Indian market.
All right. So for people watching the broadcast, every time you plug in your phone, there's a charge controller that's deciding the wattage and the voltage. And then, of course, there is AC to DC conversion that's required, which is what your adapter is for. If you're running an EV or an electronic system, you want to make it smart. You want to connect it to an app, so it requires a chipset, which is broadcasting. It requires communication to the internet. So what's the plan, sir? Because I was reading your report. You're hoping on large revenue, maybe $100 to $300 million in just a few years. What are the plans going ahead?
A Fabless chip company. We will be outsourcing, and the wafers are going to come from Taiwan and Japan at the moment, because we don't have wafer fabs in India. As the fabs for the Tata fab is coming up, and probably other fabs that the government is going to announce, as they come up, we will migrate our products to these fabs. So in a way, I'm creating demand to fill up the capacity that is being created. As far as packaging goes, is the same story, where currently the packages we require are not made in India, so we will be using the Malaysia and Philippines. But as the CG Power and Tata and other people come up with the packaging capability, we will move them to India as well.
Okay.
Test, as I mentioned to you, I will do it ourselves. I mean, our own company will do it. So eventually, we want all of this to be made in India. In a way, we are trying to incentivize the people who are setting up these capabilities to urgently move as fast as they can.
Okay.
Because we will be creating that demand to fill up that capacity.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, a multi-billion-dollar industry is emerging in India. Raja Manickam, wishing you all the best, and break a leg Let's hope that this comes true. It's of course good for you as an entrepreneur with 40 years of experience in this field, but it's good for the country that this is happening.